Now that we understand these fundamental pricing principles that you really have to understand and follow to be able to price your work to profitability, let's talk about the next element that relates to pricing, and it is Econ 101, Day 1, University. You're gonna get a lesson about supply and demand. You have to understand supply and supply and demand comes into play big time when we hit a recession, when we hit a down economy, a struggling economy, or even when your business is struggling in general, not related to the economy. Supply and demand has an impact. So let's talk about how supply and demand affects your business and how it relates to your creative business. Now, supply, when we're talking about a creative business, is the amount of time that you have to work. It's the amount of hours you have to sell to your clients. Now, we don't bill by the hour, we bill fixed bid for the majority of the things that we do, but you have a finite amount of time and you're trying to sell that time to execute on work for your clients. So that's what supply is, it's your time. And demand is the amount of clients who want to buy that time, the work that you can produce in the time that you have available to you. So that's supply and demand in relation to a creative business. Now, when demand is greater than your supply, meaning there's a lot more people who want to buy from you than you have time to fulfill, then we can do this. We increase our prices to reduce demand. We're going to price out some of those clients. So we increase those prices and it rebalances supply and demand. That's what you're trying to do with supply and demand. You're always trying to balance the level of supply and demand. So we can increase our prices to reduce demand, or we can increase our supply to meet demand, meaning we can get more people to help us do the work so that we can fulfill all of the requests that we're receiving. Either of those two things restores balance to this level of supply and demand. And that's what we're trying to do. Now, when your supply is greater than your demand, meaning you have more time available than people who want to buy from you, then we can reduce our prices to increase demand. We reduce the pricing and we restore balance. Now more people are interested in buying from us because it's a more economical choice. This supply and demand principle affects everything in business. Everything in business has some component of supply and demand related to it. The goal always being to restore balance. Now, your prices are going to increase over time as demand for your services increases. Demand continues to increase because you get better and better and you build more relationships and you build more repeat clients and you get more and more demand. Your prices can naturally grow over time because the demand is greater than the supply. Now let's talk about how we price based on demand. That's this next little segment. Now that we understand supply and demand as a core economic principle, we're going to price our work based on demand. And in order to do that, you have to start tracking your win-loss record in a spreadsheet. And this is one of the most important things that you can track in your business. How many proposals are you winning versus how many are you losing? How many opportunities? Doesn't have to be proposals, but how many opportunities that come to you are you winning versus how many are you losing? And we can create a simple little spreadsheet like this. So you put all your proposals on one column, won on one column, and lost on one column, and you start tracking that. And if you're winning too many of your proposals, you probably have room to push up your prices. You're winning too much. If you're winning 13 out of 14 proposals or opportunities like you see here in this spreadsheet, you're winning too many. And it probably means that you're priced too low, and it probably means that you have room to push up your prices. Now, if you're winning too few, you may be too expensive for your brand position. The clients are getting a price from you, 11 of them are saying no, and 3 of them are saying yes. You probably are looking too expensive. You're too high for the types of clients that you're attracting. So what we're trying to do here when we're tracking our win-loss record is we're trying to find the right balance. We're trying to find that balance. And some of you are probably thinking, well, what's that balance? What's the right number? I can tell you that my opinion, 50 to 70% is a good win rate. That's what you should be targeting. My agency, we averaged 61% win rate over a 13-year run before I sold. I love that number. I'm super proud of that number. 61% is a good, solid win rate. We're pricing out some clients. Some aren't choosing us just for whatever reason. Somebody else looks more appealing or whatever is better fit. But 61%, that's good. It's a healthy number. I'm happy with that number. So 50 to 70%, it's a pretty good win rate. That's a good target shot. Now, this is a little bit more robust version of the spreadsheet, this proposal tracker spreadsheet. You can see here that you have your proposals and SOWs, your opportunities on one column, the client name, the project type, the amount of revenue it will generate for your business, and then whether you won or lost it, and then a little column for notes where you can type in, hey, we lost this one because we were too expensive, or we lost this one because somebody else had a better relationship with the client, or we don't know why we lost this one. But you can track that inside of a spreadsheet like this. Now, what you'll find is in a recession, when our demand starts waning or client budgets start reducing because their economic conditions are driving clients to tighten up their purse strings, you start losing too many projects because you're still pricing things in a way that was pre-recession. So you have to start finding more economical ways to price your work and more economical ways to execute on the work to ride out those recession times. So tracking this demand is super, super important as it relates to navigating a recession when people start spending less and tightening up their budgets. You have to track your demand because it has an impact on how you're going to price your work.